Pretty fishy what happened to me on that ladder.
You mean where there's a fish, there could be a penguin?
But wait, it happened at sea. See? C for Catwoman.
Hey there, Enthusiacs. Welcome back to Hero Talk. I am your host, Judge Greg. Joining me today is Axalon. Welcome back to Hero Talk.
Good to be back.
All right, today's movie is Batman the Movie, and I'm talking Batman the Movie 1966. And as always, Hero Talk listeners, Hero Talk is a spoiler podcast. Nothing is off the table. Everything is fair game. You've been warned. All right, so I don't think I'm going out too far on a ledge when I say that this particular piece of cinema right here may be the single greatest capture of Batman in the entire known universe.
That's not reaching at all. I wholeheartedly agree with you.
I was raised on the old TV show, and not that I'm that old, but it was in reruns, obviously. But I've been watching Adam West play Batman for about as long as I can remember watching TV, and I've always loved it. And so this is a movie that I don't think I saw until I was an adult. I didn't really have a concept that there was a movie in addition to the TV show. So I was an adult, and I saw that they had the movie that was kind of a spin-off or based on, or I think it was supposed to bridge seasons of the TV show.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, and so I thought, like, well, will it have aged all right? Let me watch this. And I watched it, and I'm like, well, that was awesome. There's no other way. Now, if you're looking for your gritty Dark Knight Returns Batman, you're looking in the wrong place. But, I mean, when you think about where Batman was in the 1960s, if you take that Batman and you try to translate it to live action, this is what you get.
Oh yeah. For the younger listeners of Hero Talk, 'cause we have a wide, expansive audience.
Yeah.
For those of you who have seen the animated show, The Batman, The Brave and the Bold, this is Adam West Batman in animated form, basically. Mm-hmm. It's Silver Age campiness, and it's awesome.
It's awesome. It is. Adam West has described this movie many times as the theater of the absurd.
That is an apt description.
Yeah, the best thing about Adam West is that he got it. You know, he knew exactly what he was doing, and he got it. And he played Batman the way Batman in 1966 should have been played. And
everyone did. Everyone did.
Everyone was great in this. And so I'm looking over the cast, and the thing about a cast like this, though, is as I look over them, I'm like, I can't really say what else you would have known these people from, because for the overwhelming majority of these people, this is what you know them from.
This is true, yeah. I know, like, Burgess Meredith was in Rocky, but...
Yeah, I mean, there's Burgess Meredith, who everyone knows as Mickey from Rocky.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's a couple of neat little cameos, like Frank Gorshin, who is the Riddler. Mm-hmm. So he was on that TV show that came out, The Batman. You know, it came out with Batman Begins, that cartoon show.
Oh, right.
He was Professor Hugo Strange.
Oh, yeah, I remember that now.
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, he was, yeah. So he's been around. Frank Gorshin, of course, did a lot of, what else did he do? A lot of the soap operas is the word I'm looking for. I think he did a cameo on Lois and Clark. I'm trying to make sure I'm right. I'm looking through his IMDb. Yes, he did.
Was he the Riddler?
He was not the Riddler. No, he was Sharpie lawyer. Whatever. I don't know. I kind of just remember him being there. I couldn't describe that episode with a gun to my head.
I do know that Frank Gorshin, to this day, he has modernized the Riddler look. So anytime you see the Riddler in like a green suit, with or without question marks, but in a green suit, that's him.
Yes.
He created that look. Yeah. Because he hated the original costume.
He did. He wore it. He's worn it in a couple times, even in this movie, but I know he did not like the tights thing, and so he liked the green suit. I like the green suit, quite frankly.
I think it looks better, yeah. I agree with him.
It lost a little bit of its flair after that guy on the late night infomercials kept running around in the Riddler suit telling me that the government could give me lots of money and I could be getting grants that I was missing out on, but, I love the suit. I loved it when he wore it. I love how he plays the Riddler because, I immediately compare him to Jim Carrey. Now, other people have played the Riddler, but I compare and contrast him to Jim Carrey. And I feel like Jim Carrey almost played the Riddler a little too jokery, but not real jokery, like Jim Carrey's interpretation of the Joker.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas this Riddler, you can kind of see like where Jim Carrey was pulling inspiration from,
Yeah.
except Frank Gorshin lands every single line better.
Yes, he just had better delivery than Jim Carrey.
Yeah, no way around it. But I mean, I especially think, when he's dancing around their little hideout saying, like, I have the perfect victim. And it's just the intonation is just, you get it. You get it with the Riddler. And I loved it. And Frank Gorshin was phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah. You could just see he had like this mad gleam in his eyes when he's dancing around about kidnapping Bruce Wayne. And
Yeah, so somehow we ended up starting the cast on the Riddler, and I don't exactly remember how that happened, but I'm okay with it. Might as well, let's just start with the villains.
Might as well.
Yeah, let's just jump right into the cast and we'll go with the villains. So next, we mentioned it before, was Burgess Meredith. Obviously, everyone really remembers him as Mick from Rocky. He did go on to have a very, very successful career after playing the Penguin. Although, I love his Penguin portrayal. I love the squawking. There's still a little bit of me that just kind of likes when people sort of portray their Penguins the way Burgess Meredith did. Now, the guy who plays him on Gotham right now, and I want to say Robin Lord Wright is his name?
Taylor.
Robin Lord Taylor?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So Robin Lord Taylor, and I like how he plays him. I like that he has the Penguin limp like Burgess Meredith did.
Uh-huh.
And I would prefer if he would go rant, rant, rant a couple of times. But, we'll get there. We're getting there.
Penguin, he's a work in progress over there, so he'll transform eventually, I would hope.
I mean, it's the live action people I've seen play Penguin are Robin Lord Taylor, Burgess Meredith, and Danny DeVito.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think it's a stretch to say that Burgess Meredith was the best, with Robin Lord Taylor a close second, and Danny DeVito, he's not even on the chart.
Yeah, Danny DeVito's Penguin, he was just this weird, like, animal person thing. It was
I
weird.
think we have wasted enough Hero Talk listening hours talking about Danny DeVito as Penguin, and he was bad. That's just all there is to it. He was bad. But Burgess Meredith, I mean, he's been in a ton of stuff. Like, if you look at his IMDb page, it's full. But, I mean, the bottom line is that it's basically Rocky and the Penguin for him.
Basically, yeah. Those are his two most well-known roles.
Now for Catwoman, this one was sad because, and I want to say it was Julie Newmar was filming another movie.
Yes.
When this was being filmed, if I'm remembering the story correctly.
And she could not get off her other project in time for filming of this one.
So they instead used Lee Merriweather. Now, I guess it affords them a little bit of flexibility in that if it's not the usual Catwoman, you can kind of maybe work in this Kitka storyline that you maybe couldn't have tried to pull with the regular Catwoman, but I don't know. I mean, maybe the script would have been unchanged whether it was Julie Newmar or not. Lee Merriweather certainly did a phenomenal job.
She did, yes.
Yeah. So I mean, I can't critique her performance because I thought it was really, really good. But I love Julie Newmar, and Julie Newmar is Catwoman to me. And I mean, at least it wasn't Eartha Kitt. The
only scene I even remember her Catwoman from is she escapes Batman and Robin by running into the women's dressing room.
And they wouldn't.
And Batman stops Robin and says, "No, Robin, we can't enter there." So he sends Batgirl in, and that's that.
Yep, with Batgirl. It's a shame Batgirl wasn't in this movie. And I know some people kind of think of Batgirl and they're like, well, wasn't she like the cousin Oliver? But I thought they had a pretty decent run when Batgirl was on the show.
The only reason I feel she wasn't in the movie is because they honestly hadn't come up with the character yet. Because Batgirl was a creation of the TV show, which the comics latched onto. Kind of like Harley Quinn from the 90s TV show.
Yeah, I mean, and it's not a bad thing. I like Batgirl as a character in general. So if we, just to go on a short tangent here, Batgirl's always been this really weird dichotomy because I like Batgirl, but I like Oracle. And when you have another person be Batgirl instead of like the actual Batgirl, I don't like that as much. So, but I mean, I'm pretty sure in comics right now there's two Wally Wests. So if we can have two Wally Wests, we can have two Barbara Gordons. Come on, let's get on that, DC Comics.
Yeah, we can have a Batgirl and Oracle.
That's all I'm asking. Anyway, but we're right now talking about Lee Merriweather. Now, Lee Merriweather is, I'm trying to think of what other stuff she's been in. I want to say she was in either The Munsters Or was there a Munsters remake that she was in? I just have this
I
Lily
don't
Munster
know.
thought in my head. I'm looking for the Munsters right now to see if she's in the original cast. So, she was in The Man from U.N.C.L.E. Something I just learned this very second that I didn't know before is that following her time as Catwoman, she actually was in 2 other episodes of Batman as a character named Lisa Carson.
Really, but not as Catwoman.
Not as Catwoman, no.
Huh.
So, I didn't know that. I learned that just now, just trying to see if she played Lily Munster.
I didn't know that either.
Mm-hmm. So the answer to that is, well, I can't find her credit as Lily Munster on like the original Munsters. There was another show called, I'm trying to think what that was called. It was like The Munsters Today. Yeah, The Munsters Today, and she played Lily Munster on that. So I think that was a different cast. Maybe that was from like the late. I actually remember the show from like the 1980s. Ew. Okay.
Not really a big Munsters. Not really knowledgeable in the Munsters.
Yeah.
More familiar with the Addams Family.
Yep. She played a number of different characters on 3 different episodes of Murder, She Wrote too.
Huh.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the more you know.
Yep. She was on an episode of Duckman. Did you ever watch Duckman?
I've never even heard of Duckman.
Yeah.
Is that a thing?
That's not like an actual superhero. It's like this really weird adult cartoon that was on USA back in the mid 90s. It's incredibly odd. You can never find, like, it's not good. I can't describe it as good, but it's odd.
With a name like Duckman, I wouldn't think.
Duckman himself was voiced by Jason Alexander.
Okay.
Yeah, all right. So we're not going to touch on that. Couple other connections for Lee Merriweather. She was, of course, in and I don't know if you ever saw this movie. I have it on DVD. It's called Return to the Batcave: The Misadventures of Adam and Bert.
Yes,
yeah.
I have seen that.
I love that movie. It's and that also had Frank Gorshin and Julie Newmar, and of course Adam West and Burt Ward were in that one. So that was a fun throwback. And video game connection. We are the Enthusiacs after all. Lee Merriweather voiced Eva in Metal Gear Solid 4: Guns of the Patriots.
Yes, she did.
So.
And I believe she's going to be revoicing Catwoman along with Adam West and Burt Ward in the upcoming animated movie based on the 60s TV show.
Oh, is she? I thought Julie Newmar was doing it.
I thought it was Lee Merriweather.
Well, we should look that up because we don't want to cause any brand confusion amongst the Hero Talk audience.
This is true.
All right, so we are going to look. No, Julie Newmar.
I apologize, Hero Talk viewers. I apologize.
Yeah. So here, as long as I'm on Julie Newmar's site, here's something that I don't know where this came from. Julie Newmar has an uncredited actress credit on IMDb as Catwoman from Arkham Knight.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't remember hearing her in Arkham Knight.
I'm trying to think where I would have heard her as Catwoman in Arkham Knight during a hallucination or something.
Well, she was always like, because she was captured by the Riddler, and she spent the entire game being captured by the Riddler.
Yeah, but obviously Lee Merriweather didn't voice her for the entire thing, right? Because it was the same actress from I don't know. We are giving this
same Arkham City.
Way too much thought. So we're just gonna leave that, and she did. And Julie Newmar played Batman's mom in Batman: The Brave and the Bold.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right, so enough Julie Newmar. We've talked about Julie Newmar a lot when we're discussing a movie that she's not actually in.
At all. But hey.
At all. All right, but Lee Merriweather did a great job. I love Lee Merriweather as Catwoman. It's not an ideal situation, you know? Because, I mean, they tried at certain points to replace a lot of different people as these characters, and they just don't work.
Yeah, sometimes the new casting does not work.
Yeah, and so Lee Merriweather was able to do just fine. You know, I would have preferred Julie Newmar, but it's not a knock on Lee Merriweather. She was excellent as Catwoman. So the villain I saved for last.
Of course.
Cesar Romero. Now, it has been stated on Hero Talk in the past, and I just want to reiterate, it is the official stance of the Hero Talk podcast that Cesar Romero was the best Joker.
I 100% support this.
I love Cesar Romero as the Joker. I don't care that he's sometimes silly. I don't care that I can see makeup lines. I don't care that I can see his mustache. I love it. I think everyone who plays the Joker should be forced to grow a mustache and have white makeup put over it.
And then paint over it.
He refused. Yeah, he absolutely refused to shave his mustache for the role. And he was like, "This is like, listen, I'm Cesar Romero. This mustache is my career here. I'm not going to shave it off.
This is my trademark."
Yeah, that's his thing. And, like, he's hid a mustache his entire life. He's like, I'm not shaving it off for this role. And so they just like, well, let's put some makeup on it. And they did. And they're like, that doesn't look so bad. Now, back in like 1960s, I'm sure no one could tell. Now that, and the beautiful thing about stuff being filmed in the 60s is that it translates gorgeous on high def.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's absolutely beautifully translated on high definition. So I can totally see the mustache now.
It's so obvious now.
It is plain as day. But yeah, I'm sure with the old cathode ray tube TVs, nobody could tell. But
they didn't count on Blu-rays, you know. And...
yeah. Yeah, but it's so good on Blu-ray though. It's very clean. I love it. I love Cesar Romero in this movie. I love his laugh. Everyone says Mark Hamill has the best laugh, and I'll give you, Mark Hamill has a great laugh. But Cesar Romero, the great Latin lover, I can't get over how great I love this guy as the Joker. His laugh, and I love how when they have Commodore Schmidlap kidnapped, they keep sending him to wait on the guy. Like Commodore Schmidlap doesn't really seem all that concerned with the green hair, although he did mention like, are you getting enough salty
horrible skin pallor.
Yeah.
I'm not getting enough of the good old sea air.
No, I'm afraid my duties keep me mostly undercover. Oh, I love it. And when he zaps Penguin and the Riddler with his joy buzzers, that was oh man, steals the show. Every time he's on the screen, I cannot take my eyes off him. I just absolutely adore his performance as the Joker.
I wish I could roll my R's like him.
So do I.
So amazing.
Yeah, I'm looking. I can't really find anything else that I could probably point to that anyone else would know him from. A lot of like single appearances on shows. Some of these crime dramas he was on multiple times as different people.
Mm-hmm.
But I can't. This is the only thing I know him from. But it's a heck of a thing to know him from.
Yeah, absolutely agree though. Best rendition of the Joker, his laugh. I agree. Mark Hamill has an absolutely amazing Joker laugh, but Cesar Romero, like, he's the classic.
Yes,
he's the classic. He's the trendsetter. It's just amazing.
There's no way around it. Now, longtime listeners of Hero Talk know that I have a certain affinity for collecting Hallmark Christmas ornaments. And last year, Cesar Romero actually got his own ornament.
Did he really?
Yeah, it was a limited edition release. So this is like I'm crazy. So these ornaments start coming out in July, and I am there like opening weekend to buy the first shipments out.
Uh-huh.
And in fact, was just, I don't want to date this podcast too much, but it was just last Saturday when the new shipment of ornaments came out, and so I was there again on Saturday for the first day of the new ornaments to buy them. And I believe the Cesar Romero was a limited edition run that came out during the October run. And so I was there at like 10 in the morning when they were opening the doors to make sure I got my hands on the Cesar Romero ornament. I just said, it has to happen. There is not a chance on this earth I'm going to let this ornament get past me. And he's prominently on the tree. And I think I have a Heath Ledger Joker ornament too, but yeah.
Man's got to do what a man's got to do sometimes.
Yeah, man, I tell you, man, there were a lot of ornaments this season that I had to look around. So Wonder Woman, Batman, and Superman from BVS, they got their own ornaments, and they like come together to form a statue. But the problem with the Batman and the Superman ones was the capes were so huge on those ornaments. Like, this is just cumbersome. I can't put this on a tree. So I got the Wonder Woman, but the Batman's Batmobile from Batman v Superman, that one had an ornament too. So. Oh,
nice. That's a good Batmobile.
Yeah, so I bought that one. So it'll go next. I have the Batmobile from the 89, and if they ever release a Batmobile from 66, I will be all over that. But they haven't come out with one recently. I wanted to get a Batman 66 ornament, but he was doing the Batusi, and I just couldn't. Speaking of Julie Newmar's got an ornament out this year too as Catwoman. But at this point I bought so many, I'm gonna wait till after Christmas and see if there's any left. And
at this point it's gonna be just a bat tree.
Yeah, there's quite a few. The Disney princesses, Batman, and the Avengers are taking up a lot of my Christmas tree. It's something else. So anyway, all right. So those are the villains. We've covered them. I'm just gonna put a real brief shout out to Madge Blake as Aunt Harriet. She was in the movie for, she had
Like
no
2 seconds.
lines. She was in for like 2 seconds. She was out doing, I think,
Chores with Alfred, yeah.
Chores with Alfred, which is, I never really truly understood the Aunt Harriet role. Like, whose aunt was she? Was she Bruce Wayne's aunt? Was she Dick Grayson's aunt? Did they just call her aunt and she was Alfred's friend? Like,
I think...
what was that?
I don't know. I'm not sure whose aunt she was specifically. I think at one point she was only there to replace Alfred, but then they're like, wait, we can't get rid of Alfred, so they brought Alfred back, and yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, played by Madge Blake, who doesn't have a single acting credit after 1970 because she died in 1969. Well, good job, me. Okay.
That was a bit morbid, okay?
We will have to cut around that part. Whoops. Okay. So yeah, there's nothing else that she's been in that I would really know her from. I mean, because she's been an actress for a super long time before this movie even came out. So obviously I'm not very well versed in a lot of the stuff that came out then. So, but anyway, a little shout out to Madge Blake from the show. Of course, Alan Napier is Alfred. One of my favorite portrayals of Alfred, honestly. There's just something about Alan Napier that just makes me laugh when I watch him play Alfred.
Like, he's so aloof.
Yes.
In like the way with the whole crime fighting business, and he's just like,
Yep.
just another like chore right after tea time, you know, clean.
It really
Master
is.
Bruce's
Like,
cape.
I keep the house tidy, I manage the staff, and I run the Batcave. It's just part of my duties.
Yes, his official job description: manage Batcave.
I especially like in the every now and then they'll have him in the show put on the Batman costume of like Bruce Wayne and Batman have to be someplace at the same time, and I love seeing him in the Batman costume. It just makes me giggle every time.
The old switcheroo, they'll never figure it out.
Yeah. And he even got to drive the Batmobile in this movie.
He did. He even had like a special set of goggles.
Yeah, it was
hide
like
his identity.
I thought, was it his goggles? I kind of thought it was just like a domino mask, and he just put his glasses on over it.
Maybe that was it. Maybe that was it. Even better.
Yeah, that's great. I love how nonchalant everyone is with the Batmobile when they drive by in that scene.
Like no one even like looks twice. They're just like,
Nobody
it's a
even
Batmobile.
glances at the Batmobile as it drives past them. And it's
took a bat
it's a weird
helicopter.
world they present when it's. I'm sorry. I'm just laughing at that scene where Catwoman as Kitka suggests that Batman and Robin are like the Lone Ranger and are vigilantes, and so Commissioner Gordon gets so indignant with her about they are fully deputized agents of the law, and Chief O'Hara just has this look of utter shock on his face that anyone would dare suggest that Batman and Robin were vigilantes.
Yeah, it's come such a long way since those days.
Yeah.
He was a member of the law.
He was. Support your police. That's our message.
Well said.
Yeah. So anyway, so as long as we're talking about him, so Neil Hamilton is Commissioner Gordon. I love the cluelessness of his Commissioner Gordon.
So I've heard a rumor about this character, or this iteration of this character,
Okay.
in that he took the role like absolutely serious, whereas everyone else was kind of like in on the joke. I don't know how true that is. That's kind of like a rumor I heard, that he played it dead serious. Like, I must call Batman on the bat phone.
I don't know. How could he take it serious? He had to have seen the script. I don't know. He was. I love how he played him. He was just so oblivious. Like, Bruce Wayne has just been kidnapped. He gets home. He's like, we have somewhere we have to go. He's like, are you sure? Shouldn't we look? He's like, no. Batman was there to save me. You should go back to police headquarters. He may try to call you. He's like, oh, good idea.
Yeah, absolutely right. So he storms out.
He leaves. Like, really? You don't want to? No follow up? You don't need anything for a police report or no? Okay. So you just name drop Batman. You can get away with just about anything in Gotham City.
Explains so much.
Mm-hmm. And then, of course, Stafford Rep is Chief O'Hara. This is a character I really wish would make... I would like to see more iterations of him. Now, obviously, the stereotypical Irish cop doesn't really translate into a modern setting as well as it did in the 1960s. But I still would like a Chief O'Hara. You know?
I feel like with a bit of adaptation, just like the rest of all these characters have gotten, he could really work.
He could. Like, a good right-hand man to Commissioner Gordon.
He could even kind of work as like the opposite of Harvey Bullock.
Yeah. Harvey Bullock is like, he's really cynical, he's jaded, and like Chief O'Hara, he's still the idealist, you know?
Yeah, and you could have like Gordon kind of like in the middle.
Yeah.
And like managing both of them. Like, I think it could work if done well.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Obviously one of my favorite characters from this show, and so the actor, he went on to do several other things. See, he was a couple of the episode of MASH, an episode of Kung Fu, recurred in Gunsmoke several times. So, anyway, let's think who else would be. All right, so as long as we're on support characters, this was a throwaway character, but I would be absolutely remiss if I didn't bring up Vice Admiral Fangschleister. Their perception of how the United States Navy works was just astounding to me. And I need to start by setting the scene that when Batman and Robin decided it was time to call the Navy to find out what happened, Robin dialed the operator, asked for the Pentagon Navy Department. That's all he said. And the operator put him through to the Pentagon, to this flag officer.
Directly to the office.
Right into his office where he was playing tiddlywinks with his admiral's aid.
Which is not a euphemism.
Not a euphemism.
Literally.
No, it was literally tiddlywinks. And I love, so she picks up. He's like, "Hi, this is Batman." And she just says like, "Oh, hi. Who is it?"
It's Batman,
it's
Admiral.
Batman. He picks it up. Oh, that was funny. And so not only does he get this flag officer, he's like, "Hey, have you sold any war surplus submarines?" And the guy has the Rolodex of all the people he sold the war surplus submarines to. Right on his didn't have to ask anybody. This was just the one guy.
Yeah.
All this stuff apparently went through this one vice admiral. Then he looks it up to P.N. Gwynn with a P.O. box.
He was courteous enough to leave a P.O. box.
Yeah.
No address, just a P.O. box.
No address, just a P.O. box, and they sell it to him. And of course, so Batman becomes very curt on the phone with him. And the Admiral, because as a Navy man, he can only speak in naval terms, says, "Avast belay, Batman." Did we do something wrong? Oh, so, I mean, even the man, as he's looking up the name of who he sold the sub to, he whistling anchors away to himself.
Yeah.
He's in the movie for all of 2 minutes, and I get 3 good belly laughs out of that scene.
You sold a pre-atomic submarine to someone who didn't even leave a proper address?
Yeah.
Good day.
What I love about the submarine itself is that after the Penguin received this pre-atomic submarine, this war surplus diesel sub, he had to put in, and I'm estimating right now, just off the top of my head, at least $500 million worth of modifications in order to make it look like a Penguin.
Especially with the flipper propellers?
The flipper propellers, yeah. He basically had to remove the screw and put in propellers, which I don't think would work all that well. And also, the makers of this movie did not waste a lot of thought into how they felt that a periscope worked.
Yes, it's like a quad view.
Yeah, the quad view scope. I'm like, it's just mirrors, guys. It's mirrors. It doesn't work that way. You know, you gotta. It's just redirecting the light. It's not gonna do it in 4 different directions. That's not how. And this is just me. If I wanted to very covertly spy on Batman and Robin, I wouldn't put a flag on the back of my periscope.
Which is shaped like a penguin.
Yeah, which is already shaped like a penguin. Because
just in case you didn't know who owned the periscope.
Yep. All right. So I'm not going to go through the Joker's henchmen, but one more character. We've mentioned him, but we haven't actually brought. Reginald Denny plays Commodore Schmidlap, who was, I mean, one of the central plot drivers of the movie. I mean, the whole movie is based around Commodore Schmidlap having created what was the name of the device? It was a
dehydrator.
Dehydrator, yeah. Which I'm not sure what its actual real applicable United Nations use would be for, because we only ever see it turn people into piles of dust.
Yes.
That's the only time it's used in the movie. They never establish what the real world application would be.
I would imagine to dehydrate something. I don't know.
Yeah. So anyway, so Reginald Denny, he also did appear in the TV series Batman prior to this movie, playing a character King Boris, who had a.
Oh, he was King Boris.
Yeah.
Okay, didn't make that connection.
Yeah, neither did I until just a little while ago when I was just kind of trying to look up. I went to see if there was any chance I could find a Disney Junior connection here, but it's given the age of some of these actors, it was quite difficult. Anyway, so we had to bring up Commodore Schmidlap because he did. All right, so
who
now
somehow does not know he's not on a boat.
Yeah, even though it's so obvious he's not on a boat. Like he's like breathing in the saltwater air, but I mean, I guess they're on the dock.
I mean, they are on a pier.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, there's no like rocking motion. Well, I guess there was because they had like a little like conveyor belt underneath his cabin. And they were like a guy like pedaling.
This guy pedaling and blowing a pretend
foghorn.
It was. Oh well, it gave him a chance to catch up on his Dickens.
Yes.
All right. So finally, we're gonna go to the main characters, the titular characters of this movie. So we'll start with Robin, a young Burt Ward. So Burt Ward, he's like supposed to be playing like 15, 16, but I mean he was like 21 when he was doing this.
Yeah,
this show.
he does not come across as a young teenager at all.
I mean, he's shorter than Adam West.
Yes.
So he's got that going for him, but yeah, I mean he's basically a full-grown adult. So it's just
pretty
much
kind
of yeah, it was really odd seeing him like that. So again, this is you know what I was just thinking because I'm looking at his IMDb page and he has a credit on the Arkham Knight as Robin. Are they voices that are maybe used when you use their skins in the game?
That might be it because they do have a classic 60s skin for Catwoman and Robin and Batman. That might be it.
Yeah. Although I can't get the Batman one because I have the game on Xbox One.
Yeah, I unfortunately.
Yeah. So screw you guys.
Sony.
Stupid Sony. Anyway, sorry, I just got really angry for a second and I forgot where I was. So anyway, yeah, he's coming back for the Batman Return of the Caped Crusaders.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, he's been in a bunch of stuff afterwards. I want to say he played himself on an episode of the TV show Clueless, based on the movie Clueless.
Huh.
Yeah. Let's see. He went on to voice Robin on I think several of the cartoon shows.
Did he?
Yeah. Yeah. He voiced him in No, I don't think he did it in Super Friends, but I think in the TV show Legends of I'm looking it up right now. Legends of Superheroes. He voiced Robin. And the New Adventures of Superman, or New Adventures of Batman, I should say, which was a cartoon. He also voiced Robin in that.
Huh.
So,
didn't know that.
Yeah, so he did voice Robin a couple times, and like a couple of guest spots for like Batman and Robin, guests with
Scooby-Doo or something.
Scooby-Doo, and one with Tarzan and the Super 7. He voiced Robin for them. So
can I just say, like, he has the uncanny ability to instantly figure out the Riddler's riddles. Just uncanny.
Mm-hmm.
He just knew. He just knew the answer.
Right.
Like 2 seconds, like, oh, I know the answer.
Like, what's that really ridiculous one? And I know that doesn't narrow it down, but it was like, what is, 6 ounces, sits in a tree and is dangerous?
It's really dangerous.
It's like a swallow with a submachine gun. Like,
yeah,
obviously.
The only obvious answer.
There's no other possible explanation. Oh, those riddles were so real. What's yellow and right? It's a ballpoint banana.
Rushing people. Russians.
Somebody's Russian's gonna slip on a banana peel and break their neck. That's right, Robin. Only possible explanation. Oh, man, that's so funny. All right.
Apples into applesauce.
Yeah. And then egg, nature's perfect container. A container of unity.
And hope.
Oh, boy. I would love to see more riddles like that in modern interpretations of the Riddler. Don't try to be clever. Just think, what would
throw them
Frank
out there
Gorshin
every now
do?
and then
Yeah.
and be like, what?
Yeah. All right. And so finally, we have Adam West playing Batman. So he's done a ton of stuff since this, mostly playing some version of himself.
Mm-hmm.
I can think of a handful of times. Yeah, he played, let's see, he did play Batman's dad in Batman the Brave and the Bold.
He was also
the Grey Ghost.
Yeah, I was about to say the Grey Ghost.
Yep, on the animated series. Of course, he plays a caricature of himself on Family Guy.
Yeah.
He's been in just about every rehash of Batman he's made some cameo in.
He's kind of like William Shatner in a way. He can just play himself and get roles.
Yeah, he really can. If you look at his IMDb page, I would say at least 50% of these is he plays a character named Adam West, which is a self-parody.
Yeah.
But, I mean, he got it. Although, did you ever see, he made this appearance. It was like promoting a car show. He showed up wearing the Batman mask and like his normal everyday clothes, and he was clearly drunk.
I don't know. I haven't seen this.
It's one of the saddest things I've ever seen, and you're like, oh, come on, Batman, don't do this. And I want to say at some point he got involved in like some local professional wrestling. I don't think he ever wrestled. I think he just kind of was there, but anyway. So he also voiced Batman in several cartoons, the Superpowers team. He was Batman in the Super Friends, or the legendary Superpowers shows. There was like so many different iterations of Super Friends. Like there really were, and it's very hard to tell them apart. I learned I was gonna buy the Super Friends for my nephew, and I learned as I was looking at all the different iterations that like there was about like 5 or 6 different versions of that show, and some of them were really quite bad.
I would imagine so, yeah.
There was one from the 70s where the focus of the show was really on like these 3 kids that they just let hang around with them. So you'd have like Batman and Superman and Aquaman, and then it's like these like this young girl, this young boy, and this dog that would also go along on their adventures.
Oh, that sounds awful.
And it really just focused on them.
The only one I remember is the one with like the Wonder Twins.
Yeah.
That's the only Super Friends I remember.
Yeah, they came around a little later, but yeah, so he was on. I think that show. I don't know. I'm giving it more thought than it deserves, so I'm gonna stop. All right, yeah. So that's Adam West. He played Batman. It was a very perfect translation. He loves the oddity of it. I remember when Christian Bale was first cast as Batman. They asked Adam West what he thought, and he was like, "Make sure your cape doesn't get cut when you're going to the bathroom or something like that." and Christian Bale, like they told Christian Bale what he said, and Christian Bale was like, "Kind of sounds like he thinks he's still playing Batman." Yeah. Right.
Can I just say though, Adam West, much like Cesar Romero, greatest Batman, live action Batman ever.
He's certainly in the conversation. I think he's the best translation. I loved Chris Bale. I like Ben Affleck, but I don't know. There's just something about Adam West as Batman that you just can't get by. It was also phenomenal as the Grey Ghost. We glossed over it, but
yes,
it was a
Grey Ghost was a very meta role.
It was, but I mean, he played it very well.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So meta.
So meta. All right. So now that we've gone through the cast, I would say talk about the story. Let's just kind of pick apart this movie a little bit because it's so good in some of the ridiculousness of it. We start with them like cruising on. First we get the ever classic atomic batteries to power turbines to speed, which is to this day I still love seeing that. And they drive to the airport, and the airport has the Batcopter
just sitting there on the runway.
Sitting there on the runway, ready for them. We got to see the Batcopter a couple of times, didn't we? There was this, and then there was the one where they just happened to crash into the foam rubber wholesalers convention.
Yes, foam rubber in its natural state saved them.
Yeah, and I love when they said like, "Wow, what luck!" Oh yes, it would. Even the greatest statisticians would boggle the mind. Although I did think I saw it out of the corner of my eye. I'm like, oh, Batman. These guys cheated death so many times in this movie.
So many times.
So many, I mean, in the weirdest ways.
That noble porpoise.
The nobility of the almost human porpoise, Batman. It's not
saved
funny.
Us
A poor
throwing
porpoise
himself
died.
into the path of that torpedo.
Yeah. It's not funny, That's an awful thing when you think about what actually happened. But just the idea that the porpoise saw it coming towards Batman and Robin and hurled himself in the path to save him.
Nobly sacrificed itself.
Who wrote that?
Like I kind of wish I could like have like a little like window into like the past and see like them writing this movie. Just
I have to imagine there was LSD just flowing in the writers' room when this movie was being written. Because there are some odd things they do. I gotta point this out. In the scene with Bruce Wayne and Kitka's date. Okay, first of all, even before I get to the point I'm trying to make, did you notice that in his brandy sifter there was milk?
I did not notice.
Yeah, because Batman wouldn't drink alcohol. Drinks filthy.
This is true, yeah.
Yeah, so when he's on his date with Kitka, he has a brandy sifter and there's milk in it. He's drinking milk. So, anyway, but then the bad guys show up at her apartment and they're wearing masks. Like the Joker is wearing a mask.
A purple domino mask,
yeah,
yes.
Like
to hide his identity.
Joker, I think they figured out who you were. I don't know who you're fooling with that.
Well, and plus, wasn't that the only time he wore the mask too?
Yes, the only time he wore the mask, so no one would know it was the Joker. You see, so he could sneak up on him.
Even as he's laughing away on his flying purple umbrella.
Flying purple umbrella. Oh man, I really wish we got to see the purple umbrellas, the flying umbrellas, come back. I don't believe they ever showed up again in the Batman related thing.
The closest they've come is like the Penguin has like a little like helicopter umbrella.
Yeah.
But that's the closest they've come to it.
Not the same.
Yeah, it's just not the same.
I also remember there was that scene right after they were kidnapped where Bruce Wayne basically just says, like, if you even hurt a hair on Kika's head, I'll kill you all, is what he says. And I'm thinking, like, wow, all the times the Joker's trying to get him to break his one rule, and yet it's 1966 where we see him actually
Threatened to kill someone.
threaten
Yeah.
to kill somebody. I'm like, wow.
Of all the iterations, the 66 version.
The 66 version,
Yeah.
of course, Ben Affleck killed a whole bunch of people, so I don't know.
Yeah, Ben Affleck killed people. Michael Keaton killed people.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, 66. Adam West.
66, he was not messing around. Yeah. Another thing I have to point out, this is a nitpick about that scene too, but at one point in there, Robin says over and out. Over and out doesn't make any sense. That's gibberish. They mean different things. If you say over and out, you're just going to confuse people. And I just blame Batman for not training him or letting him use the radio more.
Yeah. He always takes the bat phone, you know? He doesn't know the jargon.
Yeah. I love the idea that in this universe is a bat phone. And don't get me wrong, it makes perfect sense, except it is 1966 and that's a landline, so somebody would have known what was going on there. However...
Maybe he had Alfred do it.
Yeah. The idea that there's still a bat phone. You can call directly to Batman, yet they still have a bat signal to shine in the sky.
Yes.
Like, under what circumstances would, if a direct phone call doesn't work, would you decide, like, well, maybe just shining this as some clouds, that'll be what brings them in?
Well, maybe because cell phones weren't a thing, and, you know, he had the bat phone in his car as well.
Yeah.
But maybe he was out, and, you know, it was like, maybe he's not at his phone right now. Quick, shine the bat signal.
Or maybe he was in the bat cycle.
True, the bat cycle.
So, my favorite part about the bat cycle is they disengaged the sidecar exclusively for the reason of having it stop on the opposite side of the helicopter so Robin wouldn't have to walk around to get inside.
Yes, tactical maneuvering.
There was no other reason to disengage like that. And I hear tell from the DVD commentary that Burt Ward has no control over that thing once that happens.
he's just going with it.
Yeah, he's just going till it stops.
I wonder how many takes they had to do.
He can't stop.
I imagine there was a take somewhere where he just like crashes into the Batmobile or something.
Yeah. That's a dangerous thing to be wheeling. I mean, like, it's a helicopter. Like, that's a real helicopter that they basically wanted to use it for the TV show, but they didn't have the budget. So once they got the movie budget, they used it to build a helicopter.
Which honestly, it's a helicopter with little bat wings.
Yeah. And it kind of would look like a bat from the bottom up. And of course, like, I love when the police officers take their hats off for it.
Yeah.
And that guy was having this weird pool party on his roof, and they all stopped to wave, and then
people in the picnic's like, oh, I'm sure glad he's up there.
Makes a fella feel good knowing he's out there.
In broad daylight, of course.
This is not your modern day Batman take, everybody. Anyway, I'm not really sure. Was the original intent of kidnapping Commodore Schmidlap, was it to, I don't remember what they were called, it was like the United World Organization Security Council.
I think they just wanted his invention because Catwoman came up with the plan.
Yeah, it seemed like it was like a last minute thought, like, well, shoot, what are we gonna do? We still can't kill Batman and Robin, not with an exploding shark and not with an exploding octopus.
Yeah.
That shark. How have we not talked about the shark yet?
Oh, we haven't really gotten into like the meats of the movie. That's why.
So the shark. I would say when people reference this movie, 9 times out of 10, they're talking about the shark on Batman's leg.
Or the bomb.
Or the bomb. We'll get to the bomb. We're not going to be able to get rid of the bomb.
Ever. Some days you can't get rid of it.
Yeah. But, I mean, like, it's the fakest shark I've ever seen, which just makes it all the more worse in HD. And, like, he's trying to, like, give it gut punches.
And when he's punching it, it's giving off the most hollow, like, sound.
It sounds like he's punching a metal pipe.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what the Foley people were doing, but then, fortunately, he had and it was like, the bat spray shark repellent?
Yes, he had the shark repellent up in the bat copter.
Yeah. But there were other sprays, too, like, wasn't there a manta ray one?
Yeah. A manta ray and a barracuda, I think.
Barracuda one. Because you never know. I love how everything's labeled.
Everything is labeled.
Everything is labeled. I got a chance a few years back to actually see a replica of the 1966 Batmobile, and even in the replica, everything was labeled.
Even like the bat poles.
Yes.
In the Batcave, they're labeled for who gets to use them.
Yeah. And then the switch that they hit to change into their clothes, which they would be driving past at way too fast to stop and read, that has a label on it.
Yes, it's like the costume changing switch or something.
Yeah. Even the super molecular dust separator, which good thing he had one of those laying around.
He also has a lunar surface scanner for scanning the surface of the moon. Of course.
Why wouldn't he? Yeah.
I just happened to notice that. Like, they don't focus on it, but it's like in the corner of the Batcave, you see it there. It's just like, of course he has that.
Yeah. Why not? Yeah. And so he sprays the thing and it blows up, and then you have that amazing scene where they're giving they're giving the press conference, and of course you talked about the press conference, and that's when they figure out that the four supervillains, and they hope they're not working together. But then at some point after the poor porpoise sacrifices himself, they're trying to put together exactly what happened and the way they deduced all of them working together was just, it was just ridiculous.
C, Catwoman.
Yeah, it happened at sea. See? Catwoman.
I was like, what?
No, that one might have been a stretch, Robin.
Like, there were no like feline clues or anything. It was just
nothing
C.
related to Catwoman at all, other than the fact that it happened at sea. By that logic, anything that ever happened out to sea, Catwoman was involved with.
Well, because it starts off fairly, like, it's kind of logical, like, oh, a giant riddle in the air, Riddler, okay,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and then like, but the riddle is also a joke, so maybe the Joker, okay, and then it's like, it happened at sea with like with an exploding shark.
Yeah,
Penguin,
so it was like, oh,
maybe.
fish, yeah.
And then C for Catwoman. It's just like...
Yeah. Well, I believe at one point they said, and wasn't that shark pulling your leg?
Oh, that's what it was, yeah.
Which is... It didn't even break the tights, though. That bat armor, that was made to last.
Once again, Adam West proving his superiority as Batman.
Mm-hmm.
He has the best armor.
He does. Skin tight, you can move in it, you can jog in it.
You can have a shark clamp down on your leg, you'll be perfectly fine.
It'll be good. Didn't even break the skin.
Didn't even scratch the suit.
No, that's a nice suit.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, and so I guess at some point in time, that's when they decided that Katka was gonna get involved so they could kidnap Bruce Wayne.
Oh, and so when they figure out they're working together, the four villains, and like, well, what could they be after Batman?
Oh, when they tried to deduce what they were trying to take over?
Yeah, like, any two of them is the city. 3 of them, the nation.
Yeah.
But 4, the world at minimum.
At minimum. Like they're gonna, like the world, or possibly the world and the moon. We don't know yet.
At minimum, the world, though.
Even though they just, as we established, they didn't really have a plan. They figured out that whole United World Organization Security Council thing sort of at the last minute.
Yeah.
Because it was during one of those traps where they had, this was, once they figured out that they wanted to use it to spring a trap on Batman and Robin. And so the Penguin dresses up as Commodore Schmidlap, and they're dehydrating the guinea pigs, who were labeled GP 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and putting them in vials so that they could be rehydrated in the Batcave.
Uh-huh.
They dehydrated them on carpet, too. That doesn't seem like a very smart idea.
Well, they dehydrated on carpet, and then, like, when Catwoman and Penguin, when they're scooping up the powder, like, they have, like, this little, like, funnel, like, put them in the vial, but you see powder just, like, spraying off the side.
Oh, yeah, Catwoman was not doing a very good job with the dustpan. No, she was not. Even though the Penguin was very clear on saying that you gotta be careful because every one of them has a mother.
This is true.
Which is a throwaway line, but it's so funny.
Yeah, did you know that was an ad-lib?
I did, yeah. I want to say it was one of the commentaries, or maybe I saw it somewhere else, but yeah, that was an ad-lib. Burgess Meredith just threw that in there. I'm glad it made it, because that is such a great line just to toss in. Although those poor things were rehydrated with hard water.
Yes.
So they just...
the atomic pile.
Mm-hmm. So they ended up being, converted into antimatter, I think is how they explained it.
Yeah, upon being struck, they converted to antimatter and disappeared.
From this universe.
Yes.
I feel like there's a good spin-off movie for what happens to guinea pigs 1 through 5 in the antimatter universe. Like, do they run into goatee face Spock?
Oh God.
I think there was some good crossover potential there that we didn't quite see fully realized. I would pay money to see a crossover between 1960s Batman and Star Trek, the original series.
I'm amazed that actually never happens.
There's got to be a way to get that to happen, right? There's got to be.
Because, you know, like, they had so many scenes where they would be some kind of, like, guest star or cameo when they're, like, climbing up the wall in the TV series.
Yeah.
They even had, like, freaking, what's-his-face from Hogan's Heroes. the Nazi
Oh, yeah.
commandant.
Yeah, I can't remember the guy's name, but yeah.
Yeah, but he was a guest star, and even Batman was like, "What are you doing here?"
You think maybe Spock should have like come out of the window one day? It's highly illogical. I would be here. Yeah.
I'm amazed.
Or they could just show up on the planet where it's the 1960s and it's Gotham City.
Yeah.
It's Star Trek. They didn't really try to think too hard about the science on that show. God bless them for it too. Yeah. Sorry, I'm laughing about the whole every one of them's got a mother. Wasn't there was another scene. I'm thinking of like these funny scenes. Wasn't there at one point they were looking out the periscope and Catwoman just is making this ridiculous series of noises?
Yeah, and like there's a henchman like using one of the other sides of the scope. He just like stops.
He's just staring at her.
Slowly turns his head. He's like,
yeah.
Like, what is wrong with you?
Yeah, yeah.
I think it happens, twice at some point.
Yeah, she's just was just constantly meowing into it. So you gotta love. So when Batman manages to escape from being kidnapped, we're jumping all over the premise of Hero Talk. You've seen the movie anyway, but when Batman's trying to escape, he creates the ruse about the radio transmitter in his sleeve.
Yes.
And he justifies it by saying capitalists like myself who carry large sums of money tend to have such contrivances.
Yes.
It's really odd how because she's from Soviet Russia, so
right.
he's trying
to explain to her
works.
in her lingo.
Yeah. Oh. And this was odd. So they go through this whole ruse of take him through the labyrinth corridor. But then when they pull him out to check for the transmitter, he seems to know exactly what room he has to go back into, and that it's not a corridor. He's just popping right in.
I was under the impression it was just literally the next room.
Yeah, but they were trying to make sure he didn't know that, but somehow he knew it well enough that he could run right back to it if he had to.
No, it was the next room, yeah.
Yeah.
Because he fights them, he escapes, he runs
right into that room.
Slams
But it's just the oddity that they go through all the charade of trying to make him believe it was a labyrinth corridor, and then it doesn't even... But I guess he's Batman, so I shouldn't be that surprised.
It's kind of like that scene from, I guess Taken 2, where he's, smelling, or he's, counting, the different things, and...
Well, I mean, he's Batman.
Yeah.
He could figure it out. But of course, when they return, that's when you get the ever-classic bomb scene.
Yes.
Where, Batman trying to get rid of bomb light. So, what? Trying to think all the different stuff that deterred him.
Okay, so there's a pair of nuns.
Couple of nuns, the Salvation Army.
Salvation Army. The guys playing, the tuba and it was the mini marching band kind of thing.
That was the Salvation Army.
Was that okay?
Yeah, that was the Salvation Army.
I thought there were two separate ones.
No,
okay.
That was the Salvation Army.
There were the
little
patrons,
baby ducks.
Yeah, the baby ducks, the two patrons in the restaurant, they refused to evacuate. They kept eating their meal.
Yep.
There's the couple making out in the boat.
I want to say there was a woman with a baby.
Yeah, there's a woman with a stroller.
There was basically a lot of upstanding people for a neighborhood which they had previously established in the movie was a very low and seedy neighborhood.
Yeah.
Full of rum pots who probably attribute their delusions of... I don't know.
No, it's because they see weird things like the Joker running around, and they attribute it to alcoholic delusions.
Yeah. That's when Robin says, "Drink sure is a filthy thing, Batman. I'd rather be dead than unable to trust my own eyes." Oh, this movie. Yeah, and then he finally gets rid of it, and then... What did he end up doing? He tossed it and he hid behind some.
There were heavy iron
behind
pipes.
These
he hid behind.
Yeah, these little pipes, which I found odd because Robin runs up at those pipes. He's like, "Batman, you're gone. Where are you?" And Batman is he's literally right next to him, and Batman pops up how did you not see him there?
Well, that's why Batman is the master.
You would have had to have approached from the angle with which he was hiding behind them. Yeah.
I'm saying Batman's the master, he's the apprentice. That's why.
Yep, that's why. That is... All right. So, the World Security Council. So, here's... just for the dehydration scene. And all of them are so, while they're being dehydrated, the rest of them just keep arguing.
They don't even notice.
Just rhetorically with... I don't even know who.
First off, they don't even notice when the Joker barges into the room with a giant dehydrator.
Yeah.
He bursts through the door with the Riddler and the Penguin all behind him, and they're dehydrating them one by one into tiny different colored piles of powder.
Yeah.
And
how does the powder know what color to turn into?
I do know they're all separate, but...
Yeah. It was just, what used to bother me is when I was watching it later, is certain vials would have a different, amount of stuff in them.
Yeah.
And I was like, there wasn't that much difference in the size of all those guys.
Maybe that was just more Catwoman being sloppy.
Yeah, she wasn't very good at cleaning up the henchmen, so I can't imagine she'd be any better with the World Security Council. I also, when they eventually get rehydrated at the end of the movie, I often sort of wonder, like, so what happened to all those vials? Because they show back up again, but like there should be shards of glass everywhere from these guys bursting out of these things. But I'm perhaps giving it more thought than I really should.
We may perhaps never know.
Maybe not. But at least it did bring to a really fun bat boat scene. Now, wasn't the boat made specifically for the movie?
I believe the movie as well as the copter were both made for the movie.
The copter was definitely, because they finally had the budget, but I thought the boat was also new for the movie.
Yes, yeah. Going in, they only had the Batmobile from the TV show.
They didn't have the bat. I thought they used the bat cycle a couple of times. Was the bat
Did
cycle
they?
new? I don't know. You're asking me to remember
the
back
cycle.
pretty far, so I'm not gonna.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna
I know
say.
Batgirl had her own motorcycle, but I don't remember the Bat cycle.
Yeah. No, I might have been wrong. Either way, we got to see the bat boat. It made me think of that scene from Batman Forever.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's a couple of scenes in this movie where, like, when he's trying to get rid of the bomb, I was like, oh yeah, Dark Knight Rises tried that. He had a hard time getting rid of it too.
Yeah, some days you just can't get rid of a bomb. Yep. And just like before, everyone thought he was dead, but it turns out he was hiding behind some... I'm assuming there were just some pipes somewhere that he hid behind while the whatever that thing was called. What was it? The bat plane? The bat? Was it just called the bat?
It was like the Bat Pod.
No, the bat pod was the bat motorcycle. I think it was just called the bat.
Yeah, I think it was.
I don't know. That was a Hallmark ornament, too.
Do you have?
I don't remember if I got
it.
I have Chris Bale as Batman. That's one of my Batman ones, but and I got to tell you, if they'd have armored Batman as a Hallmark ornament, I would have bought that in a second.
Oh yes,
I love armored Batman. Anyway, let's get back to this movie. So the Batboat, they had the fun Batboat scene where they the whole premise here is they want to force the submarine to surface. They don't want to sink them, which is nice. Batman's decided not to kill them.
Well, actually, it was more for the concern of the
right,
the
but it was concern for the delegates. However, they're blasting the crap out of the boat. Like, it's rocking back and forth all over the place. Like, it's not like it was a very smooth transition. Burgess Meredith dropped a Run Silent, Run Deep reference in there at one point.
Yeah,
he did. Very classic World War II movie. And finally they bring him up to the surface, and finally, for the first time in the movie, we get the words over the punches.
Yes, it took so long.
I was waiting for it the whole movie, because for a movie that didn't have very many fight scenes in it, it really felt like there was a lot of action going on, but there was a lot of vehicle stuff in this movie.
There was a Bruce Wayne fight scene, but they didn't have the words.
Yeah, and I'm okay
because
with
only
that.
Batman has the words.
Only Batman gets the words. But yeah, if you think about it, Batman and Robin didn't do a lot of fighting in the movie, except for this last scene on the submarine. At one point, Batman is holding the Catwoman's cat.
Yes,
and
she
fighting
throws it at him,
and then he puts it on a lifeboat and says the words "Bon voyage, pussy." He speaks those words to the cat. I'm just shaking my head like, oh boy, that's a line you're not going to work into any other Batman movie. That's it.
Like, for half the fight scene, he's got this cat and he's like running around on the submarine, like dodging punches and stuff.
Yeah. Did a pretty decent job too of avoiding things.
Yeah.
I mean, at some point everyone goes in the water but Batman until Catwoman pushes him from behind.
Yeah.
And that's when she falls, when she gets in the sub. She suddenly loses her cat-like grace reflexes, and she trips, and then the mask falls off, and then...
Holy heartbreak.
Like, don't, Robin, saying anything else might be compromising. I think she's figured it out, guys. But then they were able to save the council until poor Commodore Schmidlap.
He just bumbles in,
trips, breaks the canisters, and then sneezes. Which, of course, led to, the dust separator in the Batcave and the discussion of, can't we fix them?
No, Robin. We've seen what happens when we tamper with humanity. Yeah. This ghastly example in this very cave.
Yeah. At one point, it was, I think, was Batman talking directly to the president, or was he talking to Commissioner Gordon through the president? I think he was talking to Commissioner Gordon, who was then talking to the president, and Commissioner Gordon said, can you do it? And he was like, with all due humility, if we can't, heaven knows who can. And then they flip the switch, and then, of course, it works, and it worked, success.
And the whole world is riveted on...
The whole world. And then, of course, everyone comes back speaking different languages. To which point Batman and Robin descend out the window.
Conspicuously.
Yeah, because they don't.
Inconspicuously,
They want to make an inconspicuous exit, so they decide to rappel down the side of the building.
We'll use our bat ropes.
Yeah, and it was so the end comes up. It's weird though, right? Like it's like the end, and then it changes to the living end, and then there's a question mark. What does that even mean?
I have no idea.
That doesn't even. I have never seen the living end question mark at the end of any other movie I've ever seen. The living end doesn't even make sense, much less question mark.
Like, is it supposed to be like a cliffhanger for something, or like I did not understand.
Where does the word living come from, though? Like the living end. What is that?
I don't know. We need Robin in here. He would know.
Robin would know. He'd be able to figure that out like right away.
Yeah.
Robin would be all over that.
Yeah, I don't get that. That's yeah.
Mm-hmm. And so, one more thing before we start moving on with the hero talk. I just need to point out one line that Alfred said at one point when he noticed that Batman had been kidnapped. Alfred actually exclaims, "Bless my dustpan."
Yes, he does. Yes, he does.
I think they should find a way to work that into more iterations of Alfred. We could probably bring that line back.
I'm trying to see like in Gotham now. Yeah. Alfred going, well, bless my dustpan.
I think Jeremy Irons could pull that one out.
Jeremy Irons can pull anything off.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, not to knock Sean Pertwee, who does great on Gotham, and it was my favorite character on Gotham. But I think Jeremy Irons is the guy who's gotta bring Bless My Dustpan back.
I could see him doing like perfectly sarcastic in response to something like Batman says or something.
Yeah, I'm going out, Alfred. You can't stop me. It's like, well, bless my dustpan, sir. Jeremy Irons was a good Alfred.
He was a good Alfred.
Yeah, he was. I'm really looking forward to the Batman movie.
The Batman, yes.
The Batman, yes. The Batman. Although, who knows, that name could be changed. I don't know.
I kind of think they're going to keep it, because it's the first time they've ever actually used the Batman.
I think they should. I like the name, quite frankly, and I like Deathstroke. But anyway, that's a different hero talk for a different time. I think now is the time on hero talk when we can say what our favorite part of this movie was.
Oh, God.
Try to limit it to one, but you can do honorable mentions. Axalon, what was your favorite part of Batman, the movie?
Okay, so honorable mentions, the shark repellents.
Yep, of course.
And when they're like magnetically sealed to the buoy, and they got the torpedoes shooting at them, and Batman pulls out his transmitter, and he's like detonating the torpedoes before they hit them. And then he's like, "Confound it! The batteries are dead." They start panicking.
I especially like how the Penguin was in the sub, and when the torpedoes kept exploding, he figured out like he must have like some high power
radio frequency transmitter or something.
Yeah. He obviously knew what he had. Like, well, there's only one explanation. Yeah.
Yeah, but a favorite scene has to be the bomb scene.
The bomb,
easily.
Yeah, that's so. Anyway, so my favorite part, I was really torn because there's the submarine fight and there's the bomb, and I love them both. But I think the submarine will have to be the honorable mention, but I got to go with the bomb scene. It's the classic. It's
the bomb
him running around with the giant, huge bomb with the flame on the end of it. It was just perfect.
One scene to encapsulate all of the 60s Batman, it would be that scene.
It really is.
It has all the ridiculousness in a handy 2 to 3 minute scene. It's all right there. That is Batman, the series.
Yeah, basically there it is. But it's perfect. It's absolutely perfect.
Absolutely.
All right. So now we got to give this movie a score. And once again, Axalon, you're literally the only other person here with me.
Well, all right.
What would you score it?
I would give this movie the Batu-C.
Really? Okay, that's fair enough. And I would give Batman the movie atomic batteries to power, turbines to speed. This movie is ready to roll out. If you're a listener out there and you haven't seen this movie, first of all, why did you listen to this entire hero talk?
Shame on you.
Like, you couldn't have possibly understood anything we were saying up until this point. It's basically everything we've said has been nonsense to you if you've not seen this movie. This was not the time to wonder if you should have seen it. I feel like I've established that at this point, that in hero talk, like I'm sort of running off the assumption you've seen the movie already. It doesn't work otherwise. It really
honestly,
doesn't.
Even with this movie, with all the spoilers, it still sounds like nonsense. You have to see it.
Yeah. But anyway, so I actually, you know what? I had some honorable mentions as to what I was going to give this movie a score, just in case you said atomic batteries to power turbines at speed.
Well, I figured that you were going to say that, so I was like,
So I knew that one was the low-hanging fruit, so my backup was a Sparrow with a machine gun. But I realized it was so good, I wanted to get them both out there somehow. So I will give Batman the movie atomic batteries to power, turbines to speed, a Sparrow with a shotgun. I'll give them both. It was good. All right, so I guess we've come to the time on Hero Talk for final thoughts. Axalon, any final thoughts?
Let's turn these apples into applesauce.
Fair enough. All right. So my final thoughts. So I was gonna get real in here. I'm gonna give a preview of things to come. I have been toying with the idea of retooling Hero Talk a little bit. And I probably started talking about this maybe 6, 7, 8 months ago. I was going to start with some renaming, which I've decided not to rename it from Hero Talk. I'm going to be sort of tooling with the title a little bit, but Hero Talk will still be a part of it, and I will still refer to it in podcast as the Hero Talk podcast. It's not gonna have to get like some major changes, and there's no real major formats. Like I've been doing little things here and there to try to bring it up. But just kind of want to plant the seeds now for the listener base, so it's not just out of the blue when it happens. But there's I would say, some minor and subtle changes and some larger changes coming to Hero Talk, but we're really just looking to just update it a little bit. But I just feel like I need to take it one more step further to really make it my own, and that's what I'm doing. So I just wanted to point that out there, and when we're getting close. It's gonna happen probably in the next few episodes of Hero Talk, and for the overwhelming majority of Hero Talk, it's just gonna be unchanged. But there's just a couple of subtle things, so that you just know where I was coming from when I did this. So that's it. Axalon, thanks for joining me.
Good to be here, as always.
All right, and fun to record. And I was happy to watch this movie again. Absolutely happy to watch it for a Hero Talk. I'd already watched it twice anyway, like since it came to Netflix. So what's one more time? So
guilty as charged as well.
Yep. Anyway, if you have a movie you'd like to hear us review, or you want to give us any feedback, the email is herotalk@enthusiacs.com. You can check us out on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. Just search for Enthusiacs. And until next time, this is Judge Greg saying, some days you just can't get rid of a bomb.